Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Marketers Next Door. Today we're talking with my sister, Tayler Cusick. I have my daughter here. She was just being fussy. It's all over the place, but it's gonna be fun. So let me introduce Tayler real quick. Tayler is the owner of TAYLRD Media and Design, and she's a co-founder of SourceCo. So with that being said, she's got a lot on her plate. She's a marketer herself. She's a business owner herself. So Tayler, give a quick intro about who you are, your past, and then we'll jump into today's topic.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to be here. I was a little hesitant to put these glasses on because then I was like, you and I already look like each other. And then we were going to be rocking the glasses, but this is what you get. Well, my name is Tayler, and I am a marketing consultant and copywriter for wedding industry professionals and businesses. It's a niche market that really shouldn't be considered a niche because it's a gigantic industry.
True.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. But in terms of from a B2B perspective, it is considered more niche, but that's the space that I like to play in. So I work with wedding professionals who you, as the general public, would know as a wedding florist or a caterer or a wedding planner. I work with them to help them create marketing strategies that are realistic for their small businesses, and then also help them with copywriting. And then SourceCo is my second business, and that's a styled stock photography company. We create marketing images for those same customers. I'm a little bit double dipping on my businesses, but I think that's a good use of my time. So we create marketing images for them so that they don't have to take care of producing styled shoots on their own. So it's stock photos reimagined and very specifically for the wedding industry aesthetic.
That is awesome. That's so cool. And I like it. It's kind of like double dipping, but it also helps you. I'm assuming maybe have assets for TAYLRD Media and Design, right?
Yeah, I never am without a marketing image. I have everything that I could ever need.
Yeah, most marketers like myself are on Unsplash and Pexels and Adobe Stock and all that stuff. No, you got your own. You can produce your own and then you can use it and sell it. That's great. Love it. So today's topic, we're going to talk about why SMBs might need to partner with agencies. So Tayler herself is a perfect person to talk to about this because she is a marketer herself and she does consultation as a managed service and copywriting as well. But then she also owns a small business. And so she's more recently kind of talking about working with agency partners for very specific roles, right? Which is what she actually does as a marketer for her clients, her niche clients who need a specific thing done. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about maybe some pain points or maybe some experiences you've had more recently that have made you want to consider working with a small business, a marketing agency, sorry.
Well, the biggest pain point is one that I'm pretty confident is consistent amongst most people's lived experience. And that is I wear all of the hats and I don't have much time. So on any given day, when you are a business owner, you are touching product, you're touching marketing, you're touching sales, you're touching bookkeeping and finances, all of these things. And it can feel really hard it can be hard to feel like you're doing a really good job all of the time. And so that's the emotional pain point, is that because I wake up every morning and I invest literally almost all of my waking hours. I'm responsibility free. I have no kids, no pets. So I literally just wake up and work because I'm lame. But because I'm investing all of that time into my businesses, feeling like I'm not doing the best that I can is a really shitty place to be, right? Especially when this is what I want to do and I'm full throttle on it all. So now that both of the businesses have grown to the point where I am not needing to be the sole person behind, this, that, and the other, and I have the financial resources to offload some of that responsibility, I had very little hesitation when I had the thought of okay, well, now's the time to start working with outside consultants to do things that even I know how to do, but because I'm still going to be more spread thin than not. These are the areas that I've prioritized in terms of thinking this is where I can really move the needle on the business. These are things that I don't necessarily want to be the person who goes super deep on them, but I also need them done because they've been sitting on the list. I'm not even kidding you. Some of these things have been sitting on the list for well over a year. So it's about time to just get the goddamn thing done already.
Totally. That's very interesting. So I think you've talked to my boss once, right? And his experience is very similar to what you just said. As a small business owner, you always start off wearing all the hats, right? You pretty much do everything. And he always says to himself that he should never be the best at everything, right? Because if you're the best at everything, you'll never feel like you're growing, right? Because you need to spend your time to grow the business on certain drivers of the business, right? So if marketing is a huge driver and you're the best marketer, but then you have to focus on hiring and retaining and managing all that stuff, that side of the business is going to suffer, right? So then you're going to hit a wall. So he's always like, yes, I needed to be the best at the time when I started. Now I need to be the best at delegating and finding the right people to execute on tasks that I need to be done. And hopefully they're better than me, right? Now he needs to know how it's done so he can feel like he has trust on things being executed. But yeah, it's always come back to he should never be the best salesman. He should never be the best marketer. He should be the best business owner who cares about his employees and the well-being of those employees so his business can continue to grow. And then also obviously have the vision for the business. So very similar, right? Very, very similar. So what was like the first thing that you kind of came to realize? You're like, I love doing this, but I need to focus on something else. So I'm going to hand this off. What was kind of like that first thing that kind of came to mind?
Advertising, hands down. Like it's advertising, because whether or not you're looking at social media advertisements or Google advertisements, not so much like placement ads or sponsored content. That's there's not as much of a science to that, right? Like you just identify the outlet and then you decide to throw money on it and it's like done. Right. Whereas when you're talking about, search engine marketing and advertising and social media advertising, the target is constantly moving. The interface of where you go and set things up is always changing.
Yes.
So, and I know that if you're not someone who knows the management platform like the back of your hand, you're just not going to be investing your money as efficiently as you can, right? Because I think that one of the keys to being a really strong advertiser is knowing how to identify where things can get tweaked, because it's just about making these little changes along the way to continually refine the advertisement itself and the audience that it's being served to. So all that being said, that takes a lot of time and expertise. And I don't feel like going on a crash course, like education on like figuring out how to be that person. I know I don't have the time to be that person. So I had zero hesitation in saying, okay, well, this is what I need to do to move the needle for the business. So I'm not the right person for the job. I need to find the right people for the job. Right.
Makes total sense. And actually, me and my colleague, we just filmed an episode about this particular topic, advertising. And actually, the greater topic was more bigger isn't always better. And that tied down to advertising. A lot of SMBs that we've worked with, they always kind of go, well, we don't really understand advertising, but we have this budget. Let's throw this budget against just everything we do and see what happens. And what ends up happening is having a really bad experience because nobody's converting, the messaging isn't right, the audience isn't hyper focused, and so it becomes like this really scary, daunting thing. And then most people go, I was told this was going to work, it's not really working. I'm going to step back and kind of reevaluate and maybe just go back into sales, right? Maybe just go back to cold calling and just hoping repeat and referral business keeps happening. We've dealt with that kind of pain a number of times, right? And really, it's just like you said, they're not in the platform. They're not in the software. So they don't really understand those little things you can do that make drastic impacts, right? Like the simple idea of just taking a one campaign and dividing it into a lot of ad sets with very small amounts of keywords. So now your ad set is very hyper-focused on a particular group of keywords, like 3 to 5 keywords. So now your landing page is really tailored to solving that particular problem. So if you do get the right audience, even if it's only 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 people, they came across something that is meaningful to them. And you've optimized it towards that. So then you'll feel success, right? But for a business owner, who has the time to do that, right? Right.
No.
So
no.
Yeah.
I mean, I can set up the most top of funnel generic ad that really isn't even worth putting money toward. I can do
Right.
that. I can go through the motions.
Right.
But that's not the type of investment that I want to make, and that's not the goal that I have. So
Right.
the other reason behind thinking advertising is the thing that like needs to get offloaded to, you know, someone like you who actually knows what's going on, is that you reach a certain point when you're a small business owner that the guerrilla style tactics that worked for you in the past have a diminishing return.
Right.
And in my experience, this is, you know, I've been involved in a few other businesses and startups in the past, and I'm really good at the guerrilla style stuff. I know that about myself, especially when we're talking about businesses in the wedding industry. I can go from like 0 to a decent hero with nothing but what Taylor's fingers can type and
Right.
like what words can come out of my mouth. I'm capable of that. But now Source Co specifically is at the point where we're turning 3 at the end of May of, you know, this year.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And looking back, when I think of the other small businesses and startups that I've been a part of, that it's the 3-year mark where shit starts to change.
Right.
Right? Like if you've built a solid foundation, doing like, you know, writing blog posts all the time and being super active on social media and maybe having a bit of a PR push and getting your brand out there by guest podcasting and whatnot, that starts to just be less fruitful. And
Right.
so advertising from my perspective and where I'm sitting right now in my businesses is this is almost the only way for me to put my business and product in front of people I don't know exist.
Right.
Right?
Great
Like,
insight there.
because when you're doing the guerrilla style stuff, you're looking outward and seeing opportunities. Whereas advertising is the way where like it's just the opposite. People who you are just looking out into this like black hole of an abyss of the internet can become aware of your business and start to consider transacting with you. So that's the other big reason why advertising to me is the thing that at the 3-year mark in my business, we need to really start investing in.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that actually kind of ties back to another pain point that we've kind of dealt with some of our clients is, you know, making their first million was kind of not easy, but it came kind of a little bit easier for them because they knew what they were doing. They knew who they wanted to first market to. They knew where their sales were coming from. They're able to establish really good product or service, a good experience with those people. So they're able to get their first million. What a lot of businesses have a hard time doing is scaling from 1 million to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 and maintaining, you know, culture and products and services and all that stuff. That's when it gets really hard. And I think that's kind of where you guys are getting. It's you've been able to build this thing and now scaling it is really hard. And another reason for that is we've had a couple sales calls recently with potential clients. And what we constantly heard, the commonality between what we heard is that, you know, we've always done this. And again, that diminishing return is like, you know, our website I don't think it can do that. And for us, that's what I want to hear. Because then I go, you can't think outside the box anymore. And that's okay, because you've been able to grow your business from here to there. And that's awesome. That's hard to do. So you're already still alive. That's awesome. But now you need someone to come with a whole new perspective and say, here's the gaps. Here's things you haven't been able to think about because you've been doing it this way for so long and it's been working. But look at all these other opportunities, like you said, including advertising, right? Here's this whole new market, whether it's local or national or even just, worldwide. There's these new people that you can sell to, right? That you haven't really been able to focus on. And so that's a huge opportunity for SMBs or even mid-sized businesses where they feel like they hit that ceiling. We had this phone call with a client who was, a massive business. And they looked at their website as if it was just a static brochure site that did nothing other than maybe getting a couple views a month. And for us, it's like, well, there's the opportunity right there, is to change the way you look at your website and reimagine what it can actually do for your business, whether it's SEO or SEM or social media, whatever. So that was, that's something that we've seen a lot. And it's good to remind small business owners why they're in this business, right? They grew what they wanted to do. Now there's more opportunity to keep growing, right? Maybe start even a new venture. Maybe you can fund it and you can always start that other business you want to do. Whatever you want to do with your money and your profits, that's fine. But it kind of allows SMBs and business owners to go, I didn't think of it that way. That's really good. Let's try that. And small businesses can typically try things at a faster pace than a very large corporation can, which is also very cool. So
yes. You bring up an interesting point that I had a couple conversations, with you and Matt Matt.
Yeah.
Like I've talked to so many people in the last week, like, I don't know what day of the week it is. I don't know who I talked to. But I had a conversation with you guys and then some other people. I think it was very early this year about a business opportunity. And multiple people told me the same thing in different ways. And what I was hearing, what I definitely picked up on was that I, as a small business owner, was essentially thinking too small, right? Mm-hmm. That I needed to start thinking about not what it took to 2x my business, those were the words that were actively coming out of my mouth. Like, how do I double the size of this business? Mm-hmm. I was getting these pieces of advice that were totally valid saying, you need to be thinking about what it takes to 10 or 20x your business, right? And when you get to that point as a business owner where you stop, and sometimes unknowingly, right? Like I didn't realize that I wasn't thinking outside of the box. Like I have a reputation for being the outside of the box thinker.
Right.
Who's going to come in and tell you why your shit's fucked and let's do this differently. Which is why I don't fit in the corporate world and why I don't work in it. But so even someone like me who looks at other people's businesses as a profession to think outside of the box, I wasn't doing that for my own thing. And so working with outside consultants and agencies really can be the kickstart that someone needs in order to reframe their mindset about how they're looking at their business and looking at opportunities to grow.
Right. That's, totally. Yeah. Matt likes to say, feed your business, right?
Oh yeah. He said that to me. He said, feed it. And I'm like, I'm putting that on my wall somewhere. This year is going to be the year that I feed the business. Right. And so that is what we're doing. And we're feeding it with advertising. That's what we're choosing to be on the menu.
Right. Yes. I love that. Yeah. That has been his success to the businesses he owns is, yes, look at the bottom line, look at the profits. And you, as a SMB, you can make it a lifestyle brand and take that and live off of it. Or you can take those profits and reinvest it back into the business, whether it's advertising, marketing, whether it's hiring, whether it's outsourcing things, whether it's investing back into some particular proprietary software. That has always been his kind of success, right? And also acquisition, right? Merging companies has also been a big success. Is still taking those profits, putting into something else, and making this larger, 10xing your business overnight. So, I love that. I think that's really smart for most SMBs. Now it takes time to get there, right? Now it's been 3 years since you've finally gotten there. What about like your past experience? You said you're really good at guerrilla marketing. What were some of the things that you felt like you did really, really good at? And now you're hitting that diminishing return. Like what are, other than paid advertising, what else do you think might be something like this worked really, really good? We've kind of hit a ceiling. Maybe something else, maybe someone else can kind of help in this channel.
Yeah. Well, one of the most consistently effective marketing tactics for Source Co has been putting me in real life in front of people. Mm-hmm. And there are 2 or 3 events that we had the opportunity to attend. I say we, usually it was me, right. That I had the opportunity. All 3 of my business partners are mothers. And so like, as the childless one and the extrovert who's not afraid to get on stage and have a public speaking opportunity, I was the one going to these things. But whenever I would go to those events, we would convert a pretty serious percentage of who was in attendance. And, when you're just starting, our business is subscription based. It's very niche, like I mentioned. But if I went to a wedding planner workshop with 25 people in attendance and I converted 8 of them into paying subscribers, that was totally worth my time.
Right.
That's no long, for more than a year now, has not been an option for us.
Right.
And so the challenge now is, how do we put the brand in front of these, new and inquiring eyes? But, and advertising certainly will fill that gap. But the more existential question is, how does it have that personal touch where people are feeling my energy and enthusiasm about what it is they're doing and my genuine sense of wanting to help them grow their businesses? Right. So that's the $1 million question is, how do we somehow digitize Tayler and put it out on the internet? And I mean, that's not an easy question to answer, because I've done plenty of podcasts and I've been on Clubhouse begrudgingly over the last while. And it's not the same.
Right.
It's just hands down not the same, because the intention and, how do I want to say this? Like, it's not that the buying power of the listener is different, but they're not showing up with the intention of buying. They're showing up with the intention of getting free information and free advice. So even if I'm consistently talking to a digital room of 50 plus people, it's just not the same. So that's our current big challenge in what used to work from a guerrilla perspective, and what I haven't been able to figure out how to like reform that into the digital space. Because events are coming back, but also I don't know when I'm going to be ready to like throw myself into a room with a bunch of strangers and be like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
The awkward, totally. We'll do the awkward this. So, but in addition to that piece, when I have started businesses or been on the ground floor of other people's businesses, I still feel that this is the thing to do, is to like double, triple down on the content you're creating on your website, specifically blog content or landing pages, because I have yet to be proven wrong that amassing optimized URLs is not a good thing for your business. I'm like, no, of course it's a good thing for your business.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Find these, these needles and thread them.
Right.
And just keep doing it. Right. Like, because once you understand that the ancillary topics to your product or service, then I'm hardcore, like, just go for it. Obviously it's gotten much more competitive over the last few years. And so the type of long tail keyword that you need to go after now is like, we need a new word for long tail keyword, because there's like, short tail keywords, long tail keywords, and now there's like the things that might have fewer than 10 searches
Hey Google,
on them.
How do I make spaghetti for my baby and warm up a bottle of milk at the same time? Right?
Perfect example.
Yeah.
Right? Perfect example.
Yes.
So, so that's been an interesting challenge, is to find these keywords that are relevant and sometimes new in the space. Like I pretty explicitly remember having a conversation with you years ago at this point about a physical product that Sourced launched, which those are our acrylic styling blocks. And we waited on launching, and somebody, the great minds always think alike. So there's always someone else out there, which is why I always keep things really close to the chest. But another company launched acrylic styling blocks 6 days before we did.
Wow.
6 days. And I was like, what in the actual fuck? But, this was more than 2 years ago, and acrylic styling blocks were not a thing yet. This was literally
it's like a new category almost, right?
Yeah, it was a new product in a new category. Same with flat lay styling kits and flat lay kits. And so it was really interesting to, in the recent past, go through this process of like being one of the companies that was creating this small category of product, and trying to figure out like, what actually are people searching for?
Totally.
Right? Like, because we are quite literally throwing spaghetti at the wall right now with this. So I say all this because content marketing is definitely, in my books, like still in the guerrilla. It's obviously like big picture digital marketing and a part of anybody's overall strategy. But to me, it's still very much a guerrilla tactic.
Totally. Yeah, so at BMG, we really focus on top of funnel content marketing, right? Because that has always been the significant growth you see over time, right? Now, you write a blog, even if it is highly targeted to a keyword that gets a good amount of search traffic or even a low amount of search traffic, you're going to rank eventually, not day one. And then traffic is going to slowly come through and it's going to get more popular. And that's just an aggregate over time, right? The cool thing about all this is when you look at your business, maybe you step back a little bit, you look at your business, that actually is a way to 10x your business through creating awareness around your brand or a particular new product, right? So that has always worked for us. Playing the long-term game, that's a very long-term game and it will pay out. Content marketing is here to stay, whether it's copy or if it's video or images or ads. That's always going to be a key component of any successful marketing strategy. I always urge our clients to look at it like, you're not going to see the success of this blog this month, or maybe even next month, or maybe even this quarter. But as people start to educate themselves and start to find these keywords that we've already done the research on, it's going to naturally follow through. They're going to go, oh, I get it now. I was searching for this. I come across other blogs. Now it's called this. It's called the acrylic styling block. Okay, now I can go search for that. And there you are, front and center, right? And so maybe you leave all these breadcrumbs and help people self-educate themselves through all these different types of blogs or pillar pages or whatever it might be. Even on social media, you can leverage social media to educate people too. And then they go, I remember, Source Co was the one that talked about the acrylic styling blocks. If I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy it from that business, right? So and that could 10x your business 3 years from now, because now this huge amount of people who didn't know what acrylic styling blocks were, now they know, and there's only 2 people doing it, you and your competitor. So again, that's a long-term play. Most businesses need revenue now. They need short-term strategies as well. But I always like to remind our clients that content marketing is an absolute must, and that will 10x your business over time, 100%. If it's not, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, and that's the piece of marketing that people outsource to me, because I write, and I do have a copywriting partner under TAYLRD. And so, I mean, we have even large businesses coming to us where we, it's a done for you service in that regard. But if, for any SMB, if they don't have the tools or know how to write these optimized pieces of content or, pillar pages for their website, that for sure is something that someone should be bringing in an outside agency for, because yes, it might feel like it's a little bit expensive for a blog post, but like, it's really not, because it's a part of the long play, right? Like you're not going to, if you're building a house, you're not going to tell your general contractor, like, maybe use half of the cement on our foundation. Like, just cut some corners where you can. Like the content pieces of your initial marketing and brand strategy, to me, are very much foundational. And because they're the long play, even more so. So yeah, if people don't understand how to search for keywords, how to identify niche keywords, how to write an optimized blog post, like that 100% is something that people need to be investing in.
Got it. I love that. That couldn't have said it better. Let's wrap this up. What would be your final piece of advice for a small business owner, or maybe even a marketing director who's needing something, maybe a CMO who has a small in-house team is looking to scale up? What do you think would be like the last piece of advice that you'd want to give to someone who's potentially needing to outsource some work?
I think it's really important to put your ego aside and accept the fact that bringing in help can be the solution to your problem. Like, you don't always have to be the person to solve it, even though you're the business owner or the business partner, right? Like, that's how people get in their own way. And so at this point, if someone is feeling frustrated or scared or, any of those negative emotions, it might be because you are actively like standing in between the problem and what you can do to make it go away. So I think that's the most important thing for any business owner to do, is to just like, hey, this is what needs to happen. I'm not the right person to do it. Let's find the right people to help.
I love it. That's great advice, whether it's business related or not, even relationship
or life, right? Like just in life.
Love it.
Just ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Like, there's nothing wrong with not knowing the answer or not having the answer or not like having the tools to get it done. Like, humans for some reason can be so egoistic or egotistic that it's like, dude, bro, like, you don't have to be that guy. Just,
I still like you. Like, don't worry. You're still cool.
Yeah. You still can be a great business owner. Like, you can still be a great CEO. You can still be a great founding partner. You can still be a great digital marketer and ask for help.
Right. Totally. I love it. Well, you heard it here first. We had Tayler here. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate your time. Sorry for baby and dog barking. It's just the sign of the times, okay? Be sure to write your comments down below so we can talk about if you disagree with anything or if you totally agree with anything. We love to hear what you guys think. Where can people find you, Tayler?
I'm on many corners of the internet. You can find me at TAYLRD.co, which is TAYLRD.co, or sourcedco.com. Those are the main places, but once you go down the Tayler rabbit hole, you'll start seeing my face anywhere and everywhere that I can manage to put it.
Love it. Well, I love today's topic. I hope we can have more of these. This is super, super valuable. I look forward to having you back on, and I'll see you soon, sister.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, bro.
All right. See you later.
Thanks, everyone.